A very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. For the news first team, I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Before we head into our stories in detail, here's a look at your top stories for this afternoon.
The Constitutional Council convenes. Suspicion over the death of an employee of the NMRA. Specialist committee appointed to investigate the death of Chamodini Sandipani, who died at the Peradeniya hospital. Dengue prevention officers engaged in a satyagraha. Civil organizations protest amending the Ayurveda Act. India set to launch its third moon mission. India and UAE to lock horns in the emerging Asia Cup.
On to your lead story this afternoon, the Constitutional Council is set to convene today. Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene says the Constitutional Council will convene to discuss a number of matters, including the approval to extend the tenure of Inspector General of Police C.D. Wickramaratne. Now, Wickramaratne's position as IGP was extended by 3 months recently, and the Secretary to the President subsequently forwarded his name to the Constitutional Council. Moving on to other local news, Chairman of the United National Party Vajira Abeyewardene expressed the following views during a meeting in Galle yesterday.
Sometimes what you think is right may not be right according to us. This is why we sometimes make different decisions. Winning and losing is not important. What is important is doing the right thing. Galle is the most populous district in Sri Lanka, while Matara and Hambantota are the least populous. The development of these areas has been incorrect. We should not be afraid to state this. It is important to remember what we think today and to work for change. The people of Sri Lanka have chosen a citizen to lead them, and that citizen is Ranil Wickremesinghe. Watch his speech from yesterday. We have a leader who can give a message to the world. We should be proud of this fact.
ලෝකයට පරිවිදයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් නායකයෙක් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව පාලනය කරන. ඉතින් ඒක ඔබ අපි සියලු දෙනාට ආඩම්බරයක්.
A discussion was held in Colombo yesterday on the impact of domestic debt restructuring on the Employees Provident Fund, that is the EPF, and the Employees Trust Fund, the ETF. Trade union representatives joined the discussions as well.
Yesterday, the government obtained loans at an 11% coupon rate. They are now asking bondholders to agree to a reduction in interest rates to 9%. This means that a person who holds 1 million rupees will incur a loss of 102,000 rupees. Since Ranil Wickremesinghe became president, he has been focused on providing jobs to his fellow UN peers. He has also continued the program of robbing the people's money. As a result, the entire population is suffering.
2,400 Grama Niladhari positions are currently vacant in Sri Lanka. State Minister of Home Affairs Ashoka Priyantha says that the vacancies will be filled as soon as possible.
Grama Niladharis are important state sector employees. They are responsible for allocating provisions and carrying out development activities at the village level. As a result, a shortage of Grama Niladharis will hinder development. Out of the total 14,022 Grama Niladhari divisions, we will establish a program to fill the vacancies. Accordingly, a committee chaired by the Secretary to the Prime Minister is in operation to obtain approval for essential state sector employees. We will submit our recommendations to this committee, and if approval is granted for new appointments, we will conduct interviews. If not, we will explore options within the existing system.
The All Ireland United Samudri Development Officer Society held a press briefing in Kurunegala today. The society says they will not participate in the Aswasuma Welfare Benefits Program.
Close to 900,000 appeals have been submitted. 10 billion needs to be sent for this. What are you getting after spending 25 billion? What is the result you are expecting? Minister Shehan Semasinghe is saying 62 billion have been added to give benefits through Aswasuma. Don't lie like that. According to our estimates, close to 40 to 50 billion will be spent. We warn the Samurdhi banks will collapse, social insurances will be affected, and the students will lose the scholarships. collapse. Don't spend unnecessarily, or else this program will collapse. It will take time to recover that damage. No Samruddhi officers have been named in this committee. Do not propose our names in the future to conduct appeals and investigations into appeals. We will refrain from doing this work. Vijay Ratna gave them false hopes and the government fell for it. We are sad that subject ministers are speaking without any knowledge of the matter.
Convening a media briefing in Colombo yesterday, the National Collective of Organizations spoke about the amendments brought to the Ayurveda Act.
The Ayurveda Act number 31 of 1961 is an act that was introduced with good intentions. It served the nation tremendously. Ranil Wickremesinghe's government is trying to amend it. You can understand their intentions if you read the bill they proposed. They're trying to fulfill some bad intentions under the guise of helping Ayurveda doctors. Intentions of Diana Gamage and Ranil Wickremesinghe. This will allow anyone apart from doctors to grow marijuana. That is the first intention. The second intention is to direct innocent youth entering NVQ level courses to massage parlors. Thirdly, they want to privatize Ayurveda services. There are provisions to charge money.
The development of the Q-ladder weather in Siambalandur Monaragala began under the Vav Sabhava program under the leadership of State Minister of Irrigation Shashindra Rajapaksa.
The Vav Sabhava program was initiated to restructure fallen irrigation systems in the country. The biggest issue faced by the people of this country is economic issues. Perhaps the oil problems and unemployment are most pressing issues. Our future generation will face even larger issues in the future. There could be issues finding food by 2050. However, seeking a solution for this issue by 2049 will not work. Solutions to any issue should be identified from the point where the issue starts. That is why the President is commencing a food security program effective immediately.
Lanka Kaushan, a 31-year-old who was receiving treatment at the Panadura Base Hospital, died due to a cannula infection. Director of the Panadura Base Hospital, Dr. Dilrukshi Dhirasinghe says the patient admitted to the hospital had symptoms including fever and breathing difficulties. Dr. Dilrukshi Dhirasinghe says that tests revealed that his heart valves were infected. Now she says that due to the severity of the patient's condition, they face difficulties in finding a hospital with a cardiac intensive care unit to transfer the patient. They had then inquired from the Colombo National Hospital, the Kandy National Hospital and the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital to admit the patient. Dr. Dilrukshi Dhirasinghe adds that there was no intensive care unit beds in any of those hospitals, and as patient's condition was deteriorating, the Colombo National Hospital had informed that one bed was available at the ICU. Afterwards, Lanka Kaushan was pronounced dead yesterday. Dr. Dilrukshi Dhirasinghe says that the Gaul and Karapitiya Teaching Hospitals had inserted a cannula into the patient's hand and administered an injection. When he fell ill again, the patient was transferred to the Panadura Base Hospital, and he was also an employee of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority. In the meantime, Chairman of the Medical and Civil Rights Trade Union Alliance, Dr. Chamal Sanjeeva, visited the sub-office of the Ministry of Health at the Technical Junction to provide a statement related to an investigation. Speaking to the media, Dr. Chamal Sanjeeva said that the Ministry Secretary questioned them as to why they were speaking out on the importation of substandard medicines and the data scam of the NMRA. He said that the ministry should not focus on their efforts to reveal information, but should instead focus on the information they revealed. Now, a 5-member committee has been appointed to investigate the questionable death of Chamodi Sandipani at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital recently. Minister of Health Kehalia Rambukwala says that the committee that comprises of specialist doctors will launch an investigation tomorrow at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital.
Minister of Health Kehelia Ramukwala says that based on the preliminary findings, the injection administered on the patient was not the cause of her death. He also says this investigation committee can establish and confirm it through a scientific investigation. Minister Kehelia Ramukwala says that 12 people who administered the injection are currently receiving treatment at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. 21-year-old Chamodi Sandipani was admitted to the Katapiti Regional Hospital on the 10th of July due to diarrhea. She was then transferred to the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. Relatives of Chamodi Sandipani say that she died due to the injection that she was administered.
Now, a protest staged by members of the Dengue Control Unit was held in several parts of Sri Lanka today as well. Against such a backdrop, the special dengue control program conducted by the National Dengue Control Unit was also held for the second consecutive day today.
Dengue prevention officers attached to many MOHs in the Kalutara district engaged in a protest opposite the National Health Survey. The protesters spent the night at the protest site requesting swift solutions to their problems. The dengue prevention officers staged another protest opposite the Kegol MOH as well.
News first with the people.
The Coconut Research Institute of Sri Lanka says a new variety of coconut resistant to the prevailing disease spreading among coconut trees has been identified. Head of the Crop Conservation Department, Roshan De Silva, says the new variety will be released to the market next year.
Research into introducing the new variety of coconut resistant to the prevailing disease spreading among coconut trees was started several years ago. We started this in the Pathegama in the Valigama Divisional Secretariat. There is a variety of coconut called Kollapundira. It is 95% resistant to this disease. There are such varieties of coconut in Gaul, Matara and Hambantota.
Now, the disease which affects coconut leaves was first identified in Sri Lanka in 2006, and 60,000 coconut trees in the southern province that was affected by this disease were cut down. Now, head of the Crop Conservation Department, Roshan De Silva, says control measures were taken in the high-risk zones. Moving on to more local developments, the Ministry of Mahaveli and Irrigation says that the Uma Oya project will conclude in October 2023. Its secretary, UDC Jalal, says the implementation of the project will add 120 megawatts to the national grid. Although the project began in 2010 with funds from Iran, sanctions imposed on Iran later forced the government of Sri Lanka to bear the cost to complete the project. The amount spent on the project was $550 million. The Puhulpola and Dayaraba reservoirs were built from this project, which can store 1.6 million cubic meters of water. The two reservoirs were constructed by blocking two streams of the Uma Oya. In international developments from neighboring India, the country is set to launch its third moon mission, aiming to be the first to land near its little explored South Pole. The Chandrayaan-3 craft with an orbiter, lander and a rover is due to lift off at 2:35 p.m. on Friday from Sriharikota Space Center. The lander is due to reach the moon on the 23rd or the 24th of August. If successful, India will be only the fourth country to achieve a soft landing on the moon, following the US, the former Soviet Union and China. The third in India's program of lunar exploration, Chandrayaan-3 is expected to build on the success of its earlier moon missions. Chandrayaan-1 comes 13 years after the country's first moon mission in 2008. Chandrayaan-2, which also comprised an orbiter, a lander and a rover, was launched in July 2019, but it was only partially successful. Its orbiter continues to circle and study the moon even today, but the land rover failed to make a soft landing and crashed during touchdown. The Indian Space Research Organization chief has said that they have carefully studied the data from the last crash and carried out simulation exercises to fix the glitches. He added that Chandrayaan-3, which weighs 3,900 kilograms and cost 6.1 billion rupees, has the same goals as its predecessor to ensure a soft landing on the moon's surface. Now, Hollywood actors have announced they will join an ongoing strike by screenwriters in the industry's biggest shutdown for more than 60 years. The Screen Actors Guild wants streaming giants to agree to fairer split of profits and better working conditions. Around 160,000 performers will stop work at midnight. The stoppage means the vast majority of US film and TV productions will grind to a halt. Stars Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon and Emily Blunt left the premiere of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer in London on Thursday night as a strike was declared. Picketing will begin on Friday morning outside the California headquarters of Netflix before moving on to Paramount, Warner Brothers and Disney. The union, officially known as the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, also wants a guarantee that artificial intelligence and computer-generated faces and voices will not be used to replace actors. The group representing the studios, the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers, slammed the decision. A Pentagon spokesperson has said that the Wagner mercenary group is no longer participating in any significant capacity in support of combat operations in Ukraine. Wagner is thought to have helped Russia annex Crimea in 2014 and has fought some of its bloodiest recent battles. It was instrumental in capturing the eastern city of Bakhmut for Russia. The move comes weeks after the group's 24-hour mutiny in Russia, a challenge to President Vladimir Putin's authority. Under the deal that ended the June rebellion, Wagner fighters were told they could join the regular Russian army or head to Belarus with their chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. But earlier this week, the Kremlin said that President Vladimir Putin had met Prigozhin in Moscow only days after the mutiny. Putin insists he made his offer clear to the fighters during their meeting. He said they could have chosen to continue their service for the Russian regular military. In sports news, the second match of the emerging Asia Cup tournament between India and the UAE is currently being held at the Sinhalese Sports Club grounds in Colombo. Batting first, the UAE were 104 runs for the loss of 5 wickets a short while ago. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka commenced their emerging Asia Cup campaign yesterday with 48-run win over Bangladesh. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team and Mariam Ganujaya, have yourself a very great day.